Hello everybody and welcome back to the Heroic Cantina. Today I have a video I've been wanting to make for a while, and well, I'm gonna do two videos hopefully this week, one on this topic and then one on another topic I want to talk about. But I think this topic has been a topic that a lot of other big named Star Wars YouTubers have talked about and kind of touched on. I believe Eckhart's Ladder most likely made a video on this, and I definitely know Hello Greedo did. But I wanted to talk about essentially the hate culture and the kind of civil war that's going on within the Star Wars fandom, and how we as fans should aim to fix how things are going, and just give my opinion on kind of a lot of the incessant bashing that is going on towards a lot of fans that are liking and enjoying the sequels like myself. So let's jump into it. So first off, I just want to apologize if this video it doesn't seem as coherent as my other videos out there or the last video I posted. This is kind of being recorded at a little more of a later time at 10:36 p.m. But I really wanted to make this video, or at least record my thoughts after I had a argument with a Star Wars fan on Instagram about the sequel trilogy, and me kind of defending the sequel trilogy and him trying to bash my opinion for it. Now, let me preface, this isn't the first time that I have argued or had a discussion with a Star Wars fan about the sequels. I've seen a lot of this throughout the last 2 years, ever since The Last Jedi came out, and there's undoubtedly a fandom divide. Now, we don't really have numbers for this fandom divide, because there's a loud majority hating the sequels, while I personally believe there's a large silent majority that do like the sequels and don't really try and argue with those who aren't exactly fans of the sequel trilogy or other things that Disney have put out up to this point. I believe this is relevant because of Twitter and Instagram. The posts that Star Wars posts get more likes than they do comments, which usually means more people are liking what they're seeing than they are going into a comment section to argue and voice their disdain. So I believe the silent majority likes the sequels. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't have any real statistics on that. But that is my opinion, of course. Some people might see that as controversial, but I believe that that's true. But who knows? I am only a lowly Star Wars YouTuber voicing my own opinion out here. I do not have actual statistics on who exactly likes a movie and who doesn't. However, I did want to talk about the way a lot of these, I'm just going to say sequel haters, and I say that with a very, very light sort of tone. I don't mean to degrade anybody's opinions for disliking the movie. However, these fans kind of take it to the next level. A lot of these fans that aren't exactly fans of the sequels are going on Twitter and going on Instagram, and they are bashing anyone who is even resembling excitement for this movie, which is, in my opinion, it's terrible. It's terrible to see this. It's terrible to see these fans finding anyone who has a different opinion than them and trying to bash them and put them down for simply being excited for a Star Wars movie. It's really a sad time to kind of be a fan in a way. Not everything is like that. I think Reddit, for some odd reason, the popular posts on Reddit are very good. There's a lot of posts on Reddit that are like, you kind of go there and it's just kind of a good, feel-good Star Wars place. Twitter and Instagram is very different, though. You find a lot of haters in almost every single comment section of every single Disney-related Star Wars post, which is, to say the least, disheartening, especially when you try to talk to some of these people. Now, I'm not saying that every one of these people who are voicing concern are, illogical people who are just there to bash and be negative. I've encountered a few individuals that are actually willing to have a educated discussion about where they think the movies should have gone or what they like better about Legends. I ran into somebody, we were having a discussion about Luke Skywalker on Twitter, and we had a very civil and calm discussion about the difference between Legends Luke and Canon Luke, and how I believed Canon Luke was a very good representation of where his character could have gone in 30 years, and while he believed Legends Luke was a better interpretation of Luke Skywalker in general. And we had a very good conversation. We both voiced our opinions, and we both had a very, very awesome discussion, and we actually thanked each other after we were done, and we were both like, thank you. You know, it was nice being able to talk to somebody civil, and I've definitely ran into a few people like that. But the majority of people I've ran into are senselessly bashing every single thing about people who like the sequels, or those who are excited about the sequels, or those who post about the sequels. It's really, really, it's I want to say annoying. It's very annoying to see, but it's also just, it's very disheartening, as I've said, because I go on Star Wars posts and it's all negativity, and it definitely does get old, because I feel like a lot of these people just look at small things to just pick at and hate, which is terrible. I've never been one for leaks. I haven't looked into any leaks, and I never will, because I always want to see a movie for myself, especially when it comes to Star Wars. I've never wanted to look into leaks about a Star Wars movie. I've always anticipated the Star Wars movie's release. I've always anticipated where the movie's going to go, and I've never wanted to look into leaks. And a lot of people are basing their opinion on the movie already because of these leaks that are unconfirmed. None of these leaks have been confirmed. Nobody's seen the movie yet. We very much don't know what we're getting ourselves into. For all we know, these leaks that came out are very, very off and wrong, and a fan could have just made that to cause, a lot of hate and traction within the Star Wars fan. And a fan could have made that to just create a lot of hate within the Star Wars fandom for this upcoming movie. We saw this with Colin Trevorrow's leaked script. The leaked Episode 9 script for Colin Trevorrow's Episode 9 was supposedly leaked and reported on, but then we found out by the director himself that wasn't true. And I think, I saw a lot of people believing it. A lot of people talked about it. Hell, even I believed it. I was like, oh, okay, because, whatever you read on the internet is true, right? But then he came out and he said it was false. I believe something here is likely happening with the sequels and Episode 9 in this leaked script that got leaked, which in hindsight, I don't believe would happen. I mean, even Avengers Endgame didn't have leaks until maybe the day beforehand, when the movie from China was leaked a day early, because China gets everything a day early. Disney's very protective about their big name franchises and the big reveals in the movies. I would say Star Wars is definitely one of them. So for me, it's just hard to believe that any leaks are true. Any leaks that have came out are true. And a lot of these fans, especially the ones that are hating on the movie, are basing their entire opinions off of these leaks, which for me is a very, very unhealthy thing. It's a very unhealthy thing to base your entire opinion off of a few things you heard on the internet that were never confirmed. So where does this stem from? Where does this hatred and this bashing of Star Wars fans that want to just genuinely like Star Wars come from? And I want to say it comes from potential entitlement, and it comes from a place of believing everything. They have a sense of a mindset that is my way or the highway. It's either the exact way I want my Star Wars to be, or it's not Star Wars. And I think we've seen this before. I mean, we've definitely seen this before. We saw this with the prequels. The prequels came out, and the loud majority disliked the prequels. They hated it. They were on the forum boards. You couldn't go onto a Star Wars forum without seeing hate for the prequels, or you couldn't go onto YouTube without seeing hate for the prequels. And it really did get tiring. I mean, I remember this. I was only a child then, but I mean, I remember seeing all of this after episode 3 came out, and it was very tiring because I never hated the prequels. I didn't really understand why people had all these issues. Now, it doesn't mean that the prequels are perfect. Of course, growing up, I realized that the prequels have flaws, but I still appreciate them as Star Wars movies. I tell a lot of people Attack of the Clones is the worst Star Wars movie ever. And does this mean I hate Attack of the Clones? No. I mean, don't get me wrong, the dialogue is painful sometimes, but I genuinely enjoy Attack of the Clones. It's a Star Wars movie. And at the end of the day, I really can't hate a Star Wars movie, especially one that isn't too bad. It has a lot of standout Star Wars moments, and it contributes to the overall story. So I'm seeing a pattern here with these haters. I would like to believe a majority of these people who are hating on the sequel trilogy and then using this narrative that George Lucas hates what Disney did as a tool to further fuel their hate. I believe these are likely the same people who pushed George Lucas into selling Star Wars to Disney. George Lucas, up until the Disney buyout, was hated by a lot of Star Wars fans. Of course, it got better over time with shows like Clone Wars, but the hate was still there, and a lot of bashing happened to George Lucas that I think was kind of irreversible. So by the time of him selling it, he believed he was doing the best thing for fans. He was getting himself kind of out of the picture. And a lot of people use the script that he gave to Disney as, oh, Disney betrayed George Lucas's vision. And whether or not you believe the script could have been interesting and explored the Star Wars universe deeper, I believe that Star Wars fans would have reacted worse to the original sequel idea than they would have to what we have right now. I think Star Wars fans have a very hard time changing their mind or getting into the nitty-gritty. I'm not talking about every single Star Wars fan. I know there are Star Wars fans that love exploring the microbiotic adventures of the Star Wars universe and love reading about the small details. I'm one of them. I love that. But the majority, I don't believe would have liked that. I think we would have seen a very similar backlash to what the sequels are right now, and I don't think a lot of these Star Wars fans would have liked that either. I think there's a huge majority of Star Wars fans that want it their specific way, and when they don't get that, and when they get something different or something that doesn't align with their vision, it's automatically not Star Wars, and these characters aren't the characters they ever believed in, and it's not their Star Wars. Episode 6 ended when Episode 6 ended, That's when the Star Wars trilogy was supposed to end, with Episode 6. That's where the story stopped. I see a lot of people saying that on Instagram and Twitter, and it is a very ignorant statement, knowing that Legends existed before Disney's buyout, and in the Disney canon, Legends continued the stories of our characters until death, until Luke Skywalker died. So there was a lot of material there, and yeah, it is unfortunate that we've lost some of these things from Legends. I see a lot of people upset still that Legends isn't existing, but I'm sure we're gonna get stories like we've gotten in Legends. It'll just take time, and we're getting a lot of stuff. We're getting a lot of comic series and books and future Star Wars games and all sorts of really, really interesting stuff. I'm excited to see how they explore the Old Republic timeline. But anyways, I'm kind of getting off track and rambling, to say the least, in this long video that is likely longer than it should have been. It is unfortunate to see the fandom in this state, and how can we fix it? I don't think we really can. We can go and argue with every single Star Wars fan. However, for Star Wars fans to fix this, I think Star Wars fans, in an ideal situation, need to let go of every expectation they have for a Star Wars movie. They need to go in with a blank slate and, expect the unexpected, I guess. They shouldn't expect every single beaten storyline they want to see put into a Star Wars movie happen. And I think they need to put their entitlement away and kind of realize that these movies that have came out of the sequel trilogy are, in my opinion, truly good Star Wars movies. It just takes a little more thought and a little more analyzation than the movies we're used to. Not saying that the original trilogy and the prequels aren't deep, but these movies are different, and with time they're going to age into movies that people will like, and I can see the same similar thing going with the prequels, and with what happened with the prequels to the sequels is that in a decade or less there's going to be a large resurgence in love for what we got out of these movies. And I believe that the new generation of Star Wars fans coming up will kind of prove that. So yeah, it was just a big rambling video, kind of a rant. I really wanted to make a video on this topic because I've seen a lot of talk about this and a lot of arguments, and I guess the main point of this video is just don't try to be one of those people that tell me my opinion is invalid because I decide to like and defend the sequel trilogy, or that you're basing every single opinion off of leaks that were never confirmed, or etc., etc. Just, I hope that after The Rise of Skywalker releases, the Star Wars fandom can get to a place where you can love the sequels, and you can love Legends, and you can not be hated for your opinion, or you can go into a comment section and find people talking about Star Wars in a passionate but constructive way, not in a way of hate, and letting their hate get to them. And as you say, hate leads to the dark side, and it's never a good thing to be a part of the dark side and the Sith, even if they do look really damn cool in their black armor and their red lightsabers, and they have fabulous hair. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, and you want to start a discussion in the comment section about what you think about my opinions and exactly my experiences with some of these Star Wars fans, please, let's have a discussion in the comment section below. If you've had similar experiences, I'd love to talk to you guys. If you've had different experiences and more positive experiences than I have, let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion, a civil discussion. Anyways, it's been Johnson here with the Heroic Cantina. Thank you for watching the video, and may the Force be with you, always.